The weather out here in Jersey right now, day and night, like morning and night, I should say, it's very nice. Very nice weather. You know, it's probably like 70, I don't know, 70 something, low 70s maybe. It's pretty nice. So we're gonna take the laptop out on the front porch and do a little video. So when I was talking about the Whitedove Report, Pete had noticed some comments in the YouTube video where people were like, well, what did she said previously, and has she got things right, and this and that. So we had already put together. It was actually mainly for Michelle, for her contacts and things, kind of a her own like case study, if you will, of things she had said back in February. Remember when I first got to her, she posted some stuff on her blog, and just looking at the market, because you know, a lot of what she said we're still waiting for, because the timing's still not here yet. That she said we're talking fall time frame, but there's been quite a few things I think that you might check off as, you know what, she got that right. It's already happened. And there's also some previous things, like years ago, that she got, things that were published in magazines, and that she actually got right. And again, while nobody is 100% perfect, none of these psychics are, and I'll give you an example. She thought, hey, Hillary's going to win. Hillary's going to be the president. She got it wrong. She got it wrong. But if they get a lot of things right and a tiny bit of things wrong, that's all we're after anyways, right? I mean, nobody's perfect. But if it was the other way around, I'd be like, you know, look, hey, this person's supposed to be psychic. They missed, 80% of stuff, got 20% right. That's not good enough for me. I don't even want to talk about them on my channel, my YouTube. I'm done with that. That's how I'd have to do that. So hopefully this noise and, lawn mowing, all that stuff. That's why I like my house. Where I'm at my house, it's quiet. None of the neighborhood stuff, and now I'm here. I'm like, it reminded me of it. Like, oh yeah, that sound, this sound, the neighbors doing that, and the cars driving by, and the ambulance or the fire truck. Man, I gotta tell you, I really love the peace and quiet of, even though it's not really country, it's a little bit out away from the city, so it's country enough for me. But let's get into it. Let's go through this document. So it's what he's titling a case study on the accuracy and utility of crypto predictions. Case study of Michelle Medium, psychic medium Michelle Whitedove. Reluctantly, America's #1 psychic, as seen on HBO, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, and The Today Show, agreed to help us in the crypto community to forecast which cryptos will be good, which are likely poor investments, and to identify scams. Whitedove's reluctance came from her unfamiliarity with cryptos in general. However, she had been predicting that cryptos were coming for years in advance and was guided to put this information forward. Michelle refers to herself as a spiritual medium and a woman of God, and she reminds us in her book, She Talks with Angels, that prophets and seers were mentioned throughout the Bible. 2 Kings 17:13, the Lord solemnly warned Israel and Judah through all his prophets and all the seers. Turn back from your evil ways, obey my commandments and rules that are recorded in the law. I ordered you, your ancestors, to keep this law, and sent my seers and prophets to remind you. Holy texts from around the globe tell us, even the Quran states, the Lord chooses messengers from among angels and from men. Pretty loud over there. Whitedove's reputation. Hang on a second. I think I may need to just go inside. Hang on. Yeah. So Pete says, Martin Armstrong. Martin Armstrong left New Jersey for the same reason you talked about in your video about the toll road state. Love that Garden State Parkway. Just wait till you get to the bridge tolls going into New York. Yeah. Tell me about it. So let me go back to where I was. So he says, even the Quran states, the Lord chooses messengers from among angels and from men. Whitedove's reputation precedes her. We specifically sought her out as she is on every top 10 psychics in the world list. She won the title America's #1 psychic on the competitive reality TV series, which was in 2007, and is the most tested television psychic with a significant amount of published predictions, literally thousands over the past 20 years. Here are some of her prediction hits. Brexit, gold bull market starting in 2003, which he told me. She told him about that, so he started investing in cryptos in metals. Way back then, 2008. Well, let's see, yeah, because he was bigger on silver, but it was kind of a similar story. And then at the end of that, he asked her if he should get out of silver, not all the way out, but hey, I want to get into these cryptos, and I'm scared to touch my silver. And he's like, I'm thinking of getting rid of half of what I have. She told him like, do it. These are going to be good. Do it. That was more recently, like last year. Anyways, 2008 financial crisis. She got that. Japan tsunami that displaced over 500,000 people. In he has in parentheses in the OM Times magazine. So I texted him and said, hey, did they publish her article? Is that her words in that, in the article? They've quoted her? And he said, yeah. So that's pretty interesting. And let's see, scroll down here. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, you remember that one? While over 99% of all missing commercial airliners are found, she immediately published, not a trace of this one would be found. In 2006, said new digital money was coming before Bitcoin was even invented. As you know, it's 2009 that happened. On America's Psychic Challenge, her final test was to find a man buried underground in 10 acres of the California desert. In completing this astounding feat, she was named America's #1 psychic. Watch her clips, which I showed those the other day. Whitedove's first crypto prediction blog was published on her website, 28th February 2018, michellewhitedove.com, followed by another insightful blog titled, Who is Satoshi Nakamoto, on the 5th of April. And most recently, her blog post on June 28th predicting the 3 coins fastest movers out of 17 popular cryptos. From these posts and the Whitedove report dated 3rd of May, we've seen that Whitedove can forecast overall market trends with great accuracy and useful insights too. For example, on April 5th, she stated in her public blog that the market would not get good again until September of 2018. We all groaned and tried to ignore the forecast, although these past 4 months it has been proven true, and specifically the crypto market, what we're talking about here. We've learned that Michelle can separate good investments from the bad ones. In the Whitedove report, the first one, dated 3rd of May, she warned that 6 specific and well-known cryptos were bad investments. Since then, they are each down an average of over 80%. Now, granted, I'll stop because I know the whole market has been affected. But yeah, there are some coins that really got monkey hammered. So for her to pick out a bunch of those, several of the bad ones, it's pretty interesting. In the Whitedove report, she also reminded us to take profits when mentioning EOS specifically. In that same report, May 3rd, it was the only one of over 20 coins that she specifically said to do this on. It was approximately $19 at that moment, and it's now in the $6 range. Which, as you saw, it was actually in the $4 range recently. Like right now, it might be 6, or at least when this was posted, but it's been down to 4, 4 something. And that was the only one she mentioned. Look, I know it was 20. She said in that post, in that Whitedove report, I know it's been $20 here very recently, but you got to take your profits. Don't be scared to take your profits. Blah 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 blah. And sure enough, me included, I sat. No, I want higher numbers. Boom. Now it's $4 to $6. Not that I think it's not going back up, because I do think September, October timeframe's coming. Maybe our patience will pay off. However, would have been nice if we just listened, unloaded some EOS. Oh my God, it's $4, $5, $6. Let me get back in now, and then ride it back up in September, October, whatever. Whenever, assuming EOS does actually do that, because there was no other prediction on EOS after that from her about where it's going to go. She didn't really get prices on, but maybe 2 or 3 coins really. Like she said, Litecoin, she heard thousands, Theta thousands, but Theta was like, you're gonna be waiting on that one a few years. Which again, I got plenty of years. Like that's fine with me if we can see that kind of numbers. Are you kidding me? And most recently in the 20th of June Whitedove blog, a list of 16, it's actually 17, I think, Kryptos was handed to Michelle, which me and Pete put together, asking her to determine which would be the top 3 quickest movers, like a racehorse, was how we put it to her. And then Pete added in the next 3 to 6 months. So he also added that in there too. But he did put which were the quickest 3 quickest movers, like a racehorse, was the actual quote. And then we added, because we were like, well, should we give them a time frame? About 3 to 6 months. And so we added that. Interestingly, she added Neo, and that wasn't one of our coins at first. We forgot to put that one on the list. She told people, or told Pete later, because Pete called her manager Shantae and said, "Hey Shantae, we forgot one. We wanted to add Neo. I forgot to put on the list." She goes, "Don't worry, Michelle already did. It's already on there." And took a picture of the penned in Neo that she wrote, and then immediately texted to Pete to say, "Hey, she got this one." Anyways, interestingly, she added Neo, as she said it would surprise the most people. Here's exactly what she wrote and published publicly on 28th June. Quote, "To sum things up, buying now is good. Sure, there will be price dips before the markets get heated up in September. Of the list you provided below, which was the 17, and based upon what you're asking, fastest movers, the ones I'm most attracted to right now are Neo, Digibyte, and Veritasium. You know how I feel about Theta, love it for the long term, but since you're looking for quick moves, I've recommended the others." And what happened in the next week, literally a week later, is staggering and statistically significantly improbable, literally equivalent to lottery odds, less than 1 in a million chance of randomly picking the top 3 from a list of 17. And let's remember, this was in a downward market. I gotta sneeze. Felt the coming on. Whitedove has limited working knowledge of Kryptos, and she was handed a list of 16, again, plus the other one that she added because we missed it, from a third party. Immediately following this post, June 27th until 3rd of July, 1 week, here are the results. Her top 3 picks, again, Neo, Digibyte, and Veritasium. And the results, Veritasium went from 45 and change to 66, 40% in 1 week. Digibyte ran up 33%. Neo ran up 30%. The rest of on that list, which was Bitcoin Gold, EOS, OMG, and all up and downward, was 21%, 18%, 17%, 11, 9, and so on and so forth. Theta was actually 0. It didn't really move. It was 16 cents. It stayed around there. Pillar was the same. Nebulous the same, 0%. And then Populous was actually down, went down a little bit, about 4.7% it says. So that's pretty interesting that Pete and I can put this list together and say, hey, what do you think the quickest movers, like a racehorse, would be? Like if these were all racehorses, right? 17 coins, and they're all out the gates. Who's gonna? And we did say within 3 to 6 months, and lo and behold, Spirit's like, how about a week later? Boom, here's your top winners. Whoa. Again, what are the chances that the 3 she picked out of the 17 that we gave her were absolutely first, second, and third place? You have to be kidding me. She also has shared with us which projects / coins will have the biggest gains in the future. Whitedove rarely gives prices with dates, so when she does, it's worth paying attention to. She predicts some with 100 times gains and even one with 1,000 times gains. What are the chances she'll get those correct too? To continue to watch for her blog posts at michellewhitedove.com. And if you are speculating in the crypto market, you'll also find a link here to get the copy of the Whitedove Report issue 2, which is actually my website. It's not up yet, so we don't have it up yet. And then let me just scroll down a little bit, because this was a case study that they were going to send out to multiple parties, not Pete's like, Joe, why don't you just read the thing, because it'll probably answer some people's questions in your other video. I said, okay. Makes sense. The following are just a few of the hits from the May 3rd, 2018 Whitedove Report. Watch for the others to play out. Some of these you're probably going to say, well, was that really a hit? Maybe, But if it's I'm just going to put it in here. It's already in here, but I'll read through it. and you'll hear some that you probably strongly agree with, and some that, well, maybe, and that's fine, whatever. On all of the cryptos, which Whitedove rated very good, she wrote that none of them would do good in the next 4 months. This was contrarian to the popular view at the time, with many pundits and experts, right, predicting rapid rises. So he writes correct. The crypto market and all the top coins have been in a bear market with none going up since this prediction. Tether. Spirit led me to know that Tether does not have the money they say they have. They do not have the over $2 billion plus dollars. They are bluffing. They are lying. This is not good. They will be exposed. I would not put my money in Tether. Extreme caution, it will crash. Now, I don't know if I have the Whitedove report on this computer, this laptop. I don't see it here. Because I know on some of the stuff she came out with on the very first report, specifically 2 things that I can remember. I think they might have been the only ones, and this was one of them. We didn't want to be too bad mouthy on any project, so we kind of, let's just say what we have to say and just leave it at that. Like, let's shorten that and just leave it. And so what I'm going to tell you is, if you have the first Whitedove report, and you're staring at it right now. Matter of fact, I can log into my site and see it. Hang on, because I want to make sure I know what I'm telling you right now is true for this specific thing. Hang on. All right. So the good news is, what I just read you word for word is in that initial report. But I remember there was 2 things. I thought this was one of them, where we just were like, we don't want to be like, really, really bad mouthing one particular coin or the other. Like, let's just, I don't like all those words. Let's just make it short and sweet. The point's been made, and let's, just, there was 1 or 2 of those. I thought Tether was one, but I guess it wasn't, which is okay, because out of all the coins in the world, cryptos, if I had to badmouth one, I don't mind badmouthing Tether. Okay. So she says they will be exposed. They're lying. This is not good. They will be exposed. I would not put my money in Tether. Extreme caution. It will crash. So June 29, 2018, a few months after she published this, Tether double spending issue gets Huobi and other exchanges on alert. Then several weeks after prediction, Tether releases BS legal review riddled with disclaimers saying on one day they had a couple billion in a bank account. This is just smoke and mirrors. Everyone can see through this. So you remember that. And the law firm that produced this like stamp of approval, was run by some former deep state FBI guy. Remember that? Big Swear has totally exposed that. However, Big Swear didn't expose it when this was written. Therefore, you couldn't say, well, Michelle got that from Bix, or, no. She said this way back. May. Early May. Like, come on. What else? Coinbase will definitely add new cryptos. And she's, in July, a Coinbase release noted that they will add new cryptos, and considering several. While Whitedove still sees Neo added at some time in the future, because we had asked her, what coin do you see being added to Coinbase, like the next one kind of a thing, and she said, I think it'll be Neo. However, there'll be others added, but she saw Neo. And we've only heard talking from Coinbase so far, and yes, they've added Ethereum Classic. However, they've always had it. It's always been there. You just couldn't access it, right? Because Ethereum Classic and ETH, those were the forks. They stuck with ETH, and that was that. So theoretically, any coin that's forked, including the Bitcoin, which is why they have Bitcoin Cash, and theoretically they would have the other Bitcoins, whether you can access them or not. I wouldn't I guess you kind of have to count that as well, it is available or not. So whatever. She still feels Neo's coming to Coinbase, but she did talk about them adding new cryptos. EOS. Correct. With EOS, it was around $18 at the time, and many people were calling for the moonshot. Whitedove said, biggest gains have been going on, as everyone already knows. Don't get greedy. I know this has gone up from well under $1 to over $20. You know there will be pullbacks. Again, nobody ever got hurt taking profits, but please pay attention to the rating scale. Overall, I rate this good and not very good, as I see some challenges coming. Litecoin. When many thought Litecoin would take off any day, Whitedove wrote, medium time frame, biggest gains not to come for at least 4 months. And again, myself included, Litecoin's it's got to go again. It's gonna, and it's come down, sideways, up a little bit, back down, And here it is. No, you're gonna wait till September, October, everybody. That's kind of what the story is. Decent bet. She labeled as very good. Surprised is what I got, she says. Slow. Biggest gains to come in the next 1 to 4 years. Still early on this one. They've done a lot, but they have a lot more they're working on. I can see they're even going to allow people to bet on which cryptos will do best. This one's interesting. This one will be a roller coaster, but long term it's very good, as a lot of crypto high rollers will want to blow off some steam and gamble. And he writes that this is correct. Michelle picked out decent bet and surprisingly gave it a pretty glowing review. 28th of April, this report was transcribed. Excuse me. And then a few days later, I released it, which is true. It was approximately 10 or 11 cents. On 5/14/2018, it went up over 150%. No one, I repeat, no one has ever mentioned this token. Go Michelle. Updated prediction, May 16th, 2018. Blog from Michelle says, decent bet coin success has sped up. I see that the gamblers love it. This is going to be a big one, faster than originally anticipated. New news. Then in July 2018, Phil Hellmuth, who is the World Series poker winningest player ever with 15 bracelets, Phil Ivey is a distant second with 10, wore decent bet gear during the main event and later won his 15th World Series poker bracelet during another highly televised main event while sporting the decent bet logo. Lots of exposure for decent bet. Keep an eye on decent bet. Digibyte. Whitedove first predicted Digibyte would do very well in February 2018 and was the first to do so. Then on June 27th, in another public blog post, she wrote, something is going on with Digibyte and it feels very good. Give it priority. Correct. When she said this, Digibyte was approximately 2 cents, which by the way, I think it was actually like 2.1 or 2.2, but again, we'll just round down just to be fair. So everyone's like, no, Joe, it wasn't 2 cents, it was 2.1. Right, we get it. And it quickly went up over 100% and moved up over 10 spots on CoinMarketCap. It's currently 33rd place and continues to move up the top 100 list. Pillar. While many people were hopeful Pillar would get its wallet out by summer, me included, because I'm talking with David directly, CEO, and he's like, okay, yeah, March, we're looking for it might be May, okay, no, maybe April. And it kept getting pushed along. I'm thinking, okay, it'll probably come maybe the next month. And here we are in August, about to be in September here shortly, and they're just now starting with the beta thing. Anyways, while many were hopeful Pillar would get its wallet out by summer, unfortunately, those watching closely know it keeps getting pushed later due to complications and underestimating complexity and work requirements and team dynamics. But they will get it done. In the third May report, Whitedove wrote, I see it will take a while for them to really get firing on all cylinders. They will get products out this year. Their only problem is it's taking them longer than they thought to get it together, and it will take them longer than they currently think, but it will be very good. So it has taken them longer than they thought. David admitted this, and even on his best estimates, it took them even longer than that, which is why we are now in August, almost September, and the beta has just come out. Now again, I'm not poo-pooing Pillar. I like what Pillar's doing. Pillar's going to be a really cool wallet. Let me just say that. But we are waiting, and I knew from day one we would be waiting a while for Pillar. However, I did think too, by this time, this thing should be out, it should be working, and the Pillar price should be up, of course, because of this news, whatever. But it has taken longer. She did get that correct. And again, I'm okay waiting. I'm sitting on them. They're just sitting there. You know, it's only a loss if you sell, and I'm not selling. I'm waiting on Pillar because I think that's going to be a really good one. However, if you were gambling and playing and trading, Pillar getting down to 7 cents recently, and you know, there could have been some serious money to be made there. Anyways, Tezos, correct. On May 3rd, when Tezos was $3.70, and many thought it still had a chance of being the next big thing, and many are still hopeful. Whitedove wrote, "Bad, I have to let the people know. Tezos looks bad, and sadly, I see a lot of people who think the opposite." So it's now $1.58 at the time of writing this on 8th of August 2018. So yeah, this was written a while back, by the way. And we had some even more further downfalls, as you all know, recently. But again, some of these coins were hit harder than others. The whole market generally went down. So this is one of those ones where you might say, well, is it really correct yet? Is it really safe to say this is a correct hit yet? Maybe not. Like maybe as time goes on, wow, this thing really tanks even worse. As the rest of the market's doing well, Tesla's is just trickling on by. I mean, I don't know. But it's on here, so I'll read it to you. Whether you want to check this or put an X on it, that's up to you. Encrypt Gen DNA. Now this was one that when I bought Dick Algar on, and he's like, man, I've been seeing this little like DNA symbol, and we just started talking about cryptos. He was all excited. I told him about Theta, and he's excited, and we're looking for these symbols, and we're like, wow, there's several coins that have this DNA symbol. Which one is it? He didn't know either, but he took a shot at it and said, well, maybe it's this Encrypt Gen, DNA one. So he ran out and bought some of those. I never did because I was like, there's too many. It could be. I just didn't feel comfortable throwing too many darts on all these different ones, and I just let that one ride for me or slide. However, this specific one, Encrypt Gen DNA coin, while at 26 cents, Whitedove wrote, "Bad. Doesn't mean it will go away tomorrow. Not a place to just buy and hold though." So he checks off correct. It has dropped 80%, and that was also, again, when this was written, it's dropped more than that. If you go look at the charts, since she said it was bad, it's a pretty sizable drop. Mediblock, correct, at 3.5 cents. Michelle wrote bad. It has since dropped approximately 85%. Civic Coin, correct, while at 48 cents. Whitedove wrote bad. Doesn't mean it will go away tomorrow. Doesn't mean there can't be some run-ups. Just not a place to buy and hold. Now at 16 cents, it has since dropped almost 70. And again, look at all these coins that I'm talking to you about, because since this was posted, well, or technically written on the 8th or 9th of this month, we're the 22nd today. And we saw the big sell-off here recently. So many of these are actually worse than what I'm telling you because the whole market got affected. So Civic Salt, Whitedove wrote bad. Lots of glitches, lots of stops, a lot of BS. It's not good. Don't see this happening effectively. Don't mean it will go away tomorrow. Doesn't mean there can't be some run-ups. Not a place to just buy and hold. I see that the concept is great, but not good otherwise. Correct. In a bear market, some of the best picks are often just getting out of the bad coins. Man, did Michelle help us do that. While a lot of people really like Salt and were calling for great returns on it, Michelle boldly stepped out on a limb and predicted in the May 3rd Whitedove report that Salt is a bad investment, not a long-term hold. Price at the current time was over $4, and since then it has dropped 70 to 72 cents. It's an 84% drop. And their CEO just left, a very bad sign. Thank you, Michelle. Now, I know Bix is real big on Salt, and he thinks it'll be fine. And my comment to anyone that thinks the same thing is, hey, these psychics aren't 100%. They're not. Everything that even Michelle has said is not going to be 100% right. There's not going to be that kind of accuracy. It just doesn't work that way. So maybe Salt won't be. But, I mean, I did get out at $10 and never got back in and never anticipated getting back in. However, the current price that I'm talking to you today is pretty damn low, like scary low. And I think as a trade, it might not be a bad idea to grab some of those just to see if this thing, like she said, there will be some run-ups, but I wouldn't buy and hold this thing. And I think a little run-up could happen here with that, and maybe you could scrape off some, a decent amount on this one. It's just been hammered so bad. Um, anyways, that's not her. That's me talking. Cryptos are here to stay. Spirit said this is a chance for the people for money to be dispersed more fairly. Cryptos are here for the long haul. If I were to compare the overall crypto market to a baseball game, I'd say we're still in the first inning. There's a lot of chicken left on that bone, so to speak. Psychically, I see that cryptos in general are around for the long haul, years and years and years. So when you see the overall market crash or dip, fear not, as cryptos as a whole are not going away. Spirit has told me cryptos are for the people, created by the people. Cryptos are for the average person to have an opportunity to get ahead. Spirit refers to it as a black market for the people. Why do they say black market? Because everybody really doesn't want to put their money in the government supervised bank account, because once they do, they know they're held accountable for what goes into their account and it's taxable. And then he wrote correct next to this. He just says, there have been countless examples of crypto gaining more and more strength. Just one example, in August 2018, news: Australia's Commonwealth Bank completes global trade using the Ethereum blockchain. This is a sign that cryptocurrency is here to stay. With international transactions, this cuts out foreign currency exchange fees and creates a more modern global supply chain which is efficient and transparent. Facebook, Google, Twitter with crypto ad bans. That's one thing. She said social media will continue to, and by the way, how much other good news, which I could have added to this, which on top of what Pete wrote about that. Cryptos are here to stay. Look at the news. Jesus. Social media will continue to try to slow cryptos. They will continue with, and again, this was written in May 3rd. They will continue with their bans for as long as they can. They want their own crypto projects. Like most of the big money, they are pissed they're not getting their piece of this. Correct. NBC News reports May 11th, Facebook is reportedly very serious about launching its own cryptocurrency. And there have been some things I've read recently about Facebook. They are absolutely looking into blockchain. Is a wall of institutional money coming towards cryptos? Let me just say that it's trying to. I don't see where they're in, and it's not easy for them. They are not going to get in like you are asking me. I don't see it this year, and I don't see it next year. Large fund managers want to, of course, but they keep running into roadblocks, one thing after another. It's almost like divine intervention. Spirit has told me that cryptos were inspired and created for the people. This is the people's chance to get ahead. When I say people, I mean not the 1%ers, not the bankers. There's a divine intervention happening to assist humanity. Now I know there's a common counter-argument that if the biggest funds get into it, would go up the most. But that is a double-edged sword. For now, just know that the institutional money and large fund managers want to get in, but they can't. They are pissed that they can't. Spirit says this is why they will do everything they can to influence slowing this down. They will not be as successful as they hope. Have we seen them slow it down? FUD story, Jamie Dimon, ETF's been canceled. It's been Korean stock exchange. They're pulling out. They're pulling out. The regulators. Oh no, they're never. They're not. They're not. Yeah, we've seen our fair share of FUD. Crypto taxes. I do not see the tax code for cryptos changing. The government can't control cryptos, so they've decided to tax it. U.S. stock market's warning. I can't emphasize enough the stock market is going to crash. The markets are weak and falsely propped up. I wouldn't advise any of my clients to go into the stock market right now. This year, it's bottoming out. Warning. July 11th, 2018, stock market plunges 200 points after Trump unveils new tariffs, whatever, which was one of many times that happened. Correct. Facebook sees largest one-day decline in the history of the stock market. Then also after that, remember Twitter got nailed. On 26th of July, CNBC reports the largest one-day loss in market value by any company in history, with a $119 billion loss. Deutsche Bank. I predict that Deutsche Bank is going under, and they will let go more employees. I would advise people moving your money out of Deutsche Bank. Zero Hedge News, May 18th. Excuse me, May 8th. Deutsche Bank planning to fire up to 20% of its U.S. workers. Too much news. He writes, too much news on Deutsche Bank to even list. Bad news. So we'll just go right over that. Wells Fargo. I believe that Wells Fargo banks will stop allowing cash deposits into accounts unless you are the owner of the account. I would advise moving your money out of Wells Fargo. Warning, August 1st, 2018, Fox News, Business News. Wells Fargo's hit with a $2 billion fine over faulty mortgages. Again, and how many other fines were they hit with? The fake creating accounts under their customers' names and then hitting them up. Oh, you got late fees and you've got these fees. You're not keeping up with your account. And they're like, I don't remember opening up that account. Well, it says here you did. You created this account on this date. Oh, I guess I did. Actually, they didn't. And there was even news recently too, with Wells Fargo that was actually not good. Bank closings change on the doors. Banks will close their doors, but not this year. Soon though. Spirit showed me on locks on the doors, people not being able to get their money or access to their safety deposit boxes. Please be careful. And then he writes this warning, not really a correct thing, but warning. Wall Street Journal, August 2nd, this year, 2018. Thousands of branches are closing, bank mergers and acquisitions are up, and so too are the shuttering of rural bank branches, as Whitedove has predicted for years. Our banking choices will be less and less. The US dollar will be replaced. It is being worked, and it appears like they are going digital, cashless, trying to chip people or give cards with chips. To use this new money system, they will want to use face recognition, fingerprints, eye scans, and DNA. They want everyone on the grid and accounted for. Warning, August 2nd, 2018, CBS News. Big Brother wants your DNA confirmed. Your DNA is being sold. It's estimated more than 12 million Americans have sent their DNA to be analyzed by companies like 23andMe and Ancestry.com. The data is then sometimes shared with or sold to third parties for use in medical research. Recently, it was announced that GlaxoSmithKline invested $300 million in the company for collaboration, that was 23andMe, where the pharmaceutical company would use data to develop drugs. And I said, I don't like that idea at all. And I remember a report that he did not include, maybe he wasn't aware of this, but Michelle Whitedove, I was reading some of her older stuff when I first met her and stuff. I was like, let me just go look at some of her past stuff, just trying to search for things. And she had a post somewhere, and it said something about I would strongly suggest not doing these DNA tests, and if you are hell-bent on doing it, don't give them your real information. Make up something. And I was like, that was interesting. And then we had this happen, and 23andMe is owned by the sister, I think, of the lady who's the CEO of YouTube. And I'm like, no thanks. So that's interesting. And then he goes on to some of the things covered in the Whitedove Report too, which I've already done in a different video, so I'm not going to do it again here. But this should give you an idea of some of the things she said. Whether you believe every single thing that I said that Pete wrote as a check, oh, that definitely happened, you're on the fence, or that was one, that's up to you to decide. I'm just giving you the things that we've noted as being significant one way or the other, and she said it in advance, and that's that. So hopefully that'll help some of you with some of your questions. Take care.